Did you want some? I thought the screening. I sure just a minute. I will start. Yeah, I know. Okay. I'm ready. I start the recording.
Okay, is all ready? Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Borough Council meeting for the Borough of Peapack And Gladstone. It is June 6, 2024 at 7 o'clock p.m. And I'd like to please call this meeting to order. Nancy, would you please read the sunshine notice?
Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of the 2024 meeting dates was published in the Courier News and the Burnsville News on April 18, 2024, and posted at the Municipal Complex in the Borough Library. Action may be taken.
Thank you, Nancy. Would everyone please stand and join me in the pledge of allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, as I'm doing now, I'm going to ask everyone to please put your phones on Do Not Disturb in silence. Respectfully to proceed. Nancy, roll call.
Councilwoman Murphy. Here. Councilman Portella.
Here.
Councilman Silva.
Here.
Councilwoman Sueda. Here. Council President Sweeney.
Here.
Councilwoman Weigel. Here. Mayor Corleone.
Here. Okay, very good. Let's start out with public comments on non-agenda items. Anybody's welcome to come to the microphone. 3 minutes per person, please. Name and address first, and then you may address the council. Does anybody have a non-agenda item that wish to address the council? Seeing none, I'll close public comments on non-agenda, and let's move on to old business. We have a discussion on the east. This is going to be headed up by a property committee chairman and second, Eric Portello, and Council President Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. So I wanted to provide an update from our last meeting. So as recommended to us by the APL, we have been applying the block-free product. Our DPW team has been spraying it and applying it weekly. It's recommended monthly. We're doing it weekly for the first month. In addition to spraying at the pond, we've also been spraying at the municipal field, the ball field, and the Sarah K lot. Unfortunately, to date, there's been no evidence of deterring the geese. However, we're going to continue to apply the block-free product. At the last meeting, we learned that there is an opportunity to use drones. So we actually swiftly contracted with that provider, and they were able to herd these geese 2 miles downstream, though they did quickly return. However, we learned from our biologist consultant that harassing wildlife via drone is in fact illegal in the state of New Jersey. So we actually had to seize that immediately after 2 attempts. We were also introduced to the Barnyard Sanctuary. They're located in Columbia, New Jersey, as a potential effort to relocate our geese. Councilwoman Murphy has actually reached out to the USDA to inquire about whether the USDA would relocate them. The USDA biologist was adamant that relocation in such close proximity would not work, that resident Canada geese nearly always travel back to their homes and their nesting locations. Our USDA contact has not dealt with a relocation or a permit process in New Jersey, just given the small size of the state, and that relocation is incredibly rare in the state of New Jersey. There was an example of this actually with a town in New York attempting to do the same thing and relocate their geese. They actually transported them down to South Carolina. The geese had returned prior to the truck that transported them to South Carolina, so that also didn't work. I did speak with the president of the Barnyard Sanctuary, Tamala Lester, and wanted to understand what options could be available to us, what the process or logistics could look like, how they intended to encourage the geese to stay at their property. And Tamala was very informative, gave me a lot of information. One thing was it is illegal to restrict wildlife, so they cannot perform any clipping or any netting to contain the geese there. in an effort to keep them there. So that's not going to work. They also offered to gather and capture the geese. This would need to be done over a couple of days to encourage the geese to sort of move into their trailer and transport them. This does need to be done during molting season. This is when the geese can't fly. That is quickly approaching. It's mid-June to early July. And although they aren't guaranteeing they could capture them all, they would obviously try their best. If you believe that relocation could work, there are permits that are required. This is, this practice and review process entails a minimum of 60 days. This is from the federal government, which would take us out of that molting season. Subsequently, that would significantly reduce the chances the geese would remain at the Barnard Sanctuary, and unfortunately, relocation just isn't really a viable option at this time. I'd like to ask Jamie or John if you guys have any other clarifying points or anything I'd like to look at.
No, I mean, I don't think so. I mean, I spoke at length with the USDA, when we started these various attempts to either relocate or deter the geese. And, like Eric said, they were fairly adamant that, they were quite adamant that relocation anywhere within the state of New Jersey is just not successful. It's just too small of a state. And she said even in larger states, it just doesn't work. Once they're resident Canada geese, their biology just sends them back home. So she had very little experience personally with any sort of relocation within the state, in this state, because of the size. And she did obviously, inform us that the drones were in illegal use. So that was unfortunate. But in reality, since they were only chasing them about 2 miles down the road, it doesn't sound like they would work. And I did speak with the gentleman that was mentioned in the previous meeting from the person who used the drones, just to confirm that he did say that the geese came back about a month later, once their flight feathers returned.
Thank you.
We've covered it all. That's essentially the bottom line is that the USDA doesn't relocate within New Jersey. It's not they're gonna come back. The deterrents aren't working, so we're not going to cancel the contract. This is the bottom line.
Wow. Any other council members have any discussion on this? Seeing none, let's move on to the next. Any item of old business not listed on the agenda?
I do have an old business. I just wanted a trail update. So I wanted to talk about parking at the head of the DPW trail on Brook Street, and as well as we're gonna start doing the work on Jacob's Ladder at the top of Highland, the trail that goes from the top of Highland down to Lake Road. And so DPW is gonna work on putting little parking areas at both trailheads. They don't require any professional work. They can do it sort of like what they did, if you're familiar with the parking online for the tennis courts. So just so we have a few parking spots at both trailheads, designated parking spots. And then we are going to start the work on Jacob's Ladder. The survey was done, so they have that, and DPW is going to do the work.
Thank you, Jamie. New business, not on the agenda. Any council member that might not be listed? Seeing none, miscellaneous. Nothing. Okay. All right, let's move on to ordinances. We'll talk about ordinance 1142-2024. This is the rezoning of the plaza to make it into a senior citizen living campus. We are deferring the public hearing for this ordinance until the July 16th meeting or thereafter. But a few questions came up about it, and we just wanted to make sure we're 100% on. Moving on to ordinance 1143-2024. This is providing for various improvements in and by the borough. The Peapack And Gladstone in the county of Somerset appropriated $600,000 in the general capital fund, $312,560 in the open space trust, and $253,850 in the sewer capital fund and various funds of the borough. May I have a roll call vote to open the public hearing, please, Nancy?
Need first and second.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Murphy?
Yes.
Councilman Portello?
Aye.
Councilman Silva?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sueda? Aye. Council President Sweeney?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wyrill? Aye.
Okay. I'm now going to open the meeting up to public comment on ordinance 1143/2024. If anyone would like to comment on this ordinance, please approach the microphone and name and address, please. Seeing none, may I have a motion and a second to close the public hearing for this ordinance?
Second.
Okay, roll call when you want. Ready, Nancy?
Councilwoman Murphy.
Yes.
Councilman Portello.
Aye.
Councilman Silva.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sueda. Yes. Council President Sweeney.
Aye.
Councilwoman Wyble. Aye.
Okay. May I now have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance 1143/2024?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
John and Joe. Roll call when you're ready.
Councilwoman Murphy.
Yes.
Councilman Portello.
Aye.
Councilman Silva.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sueda. Aye. Council President Sweeney.
Aye.
Councilwoman Wyble. Aye.
Okay, ordinance 1143/2024 is adopted and shall be published by title only in the Burnsville News in accordance with the law. Moving on to ordinance 1144/2024, which is an ordinance appropriating certain monies held by the Borough of Peapack And Gladstone, for the Peapack And Gladstone branch of the Somerset County Library System renovation project of $80,000. May I have a motion and second to open, may I have a motion and second?
Move to open the hearing.
Thank you.
Second.
Second, roll call vote, please, Nancy.
Councilwoman Murphy.
Yes.
Councilman Portello.
Aye.
Councilman Silva.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sueda. Aye. Council President Sweeney.
Aye.
Councilwoman Wyble. Aye.
Okay, Nancy, let's make a note to have Susie clean up her wording on this.
Yeah.
Would anybody in the public like to comment on ordinance 1144/2024 library renovation project?
Hi, Andre Connick, Holland Ave, Peapack. I just wanted to thank Councilman Silva for helping us get to this point, and all of you finally getting to this point. This is going to be excellent, and I'm very excited to see the new library open up finally. It's going to be great for the town, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else, please? All right,
Move to
ma'am.
close the hearing.
Okay, great, second, please. Second. Roll call vote, please, Nancy.
Councilwoman Murphy.
Yes.
Councilman Portello.
Aye.
Councilman Silva.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sueda. Aye. Council President Sweeney.
Aye.
Councilwoman Wyble. Aye.
And now may I have a motion and second to adopt ordinance 1144/2024?
I move to adopt. Move to adopt.
Second.
John and Sergio. Roll call when you're ready.
Councilwoman Murphy. Councilman Portello.
Aye.
Councilman Silva.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sueda. Aye. Council President Sweeney.
Aye.
Councilwoman Wyble. Aye.
Okay, ordinance 1144/2024 is adopted and shall be published in title only in the Burnsville News in accordance with the law. Let's now move on to our resolutions. I know I have a couple comments on these, but would any council member, would the council members please take 1 minute to look through the resolutions and see if there's any you want to pull from the consent agenda?
None for me, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Anyway, 107-24, notice of intent to petition the Highlands Council. Just
Yeah,
wanted for clarification on that.
Yeah.
But I have that.
More information. That's the only one.
Okay. May I have a motion and a second for a consent agenda vote on resolutions 108-24 through 117-24?
So moved. Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Councilwoman Murphy.
Yes.
Councilman Portello.
Aye.
Councilman Silva.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sueda. Aye. Council President Sweeney.
Aye.
Councilwoman Wyble. Aye.
Okay, those resolutions have passed. Let's back up to 107-24.
And that's, I'm going to move that for the discussion.
Go ahead.
So move.
Second.
Okay, discussion.
Just want to clarify, that this is not a resolution for us to enter into the Highlands. It's to start the process of review.
That is correct. The Highlands is willing to fully fund our analysis required to assess our conformity of our laws with Highland. And this is an intent to petition, which means it's going to go on their agenda this month to fully fund those costs for the analysis work required by our planning.
Can you remind us what that analysis involves in general, or do you remember?
It's basically a review of our land use ordinance
Okay.
to see how they conform with the requirements of the Highlands.
Okay, just land use, no master plan, nothing else? Just
No, I think.
I thought they looked at the master plan.
Yeah.
It hits land use, so it could hit the master
It's
plan.
master
so-
plan, it's also housing, and element infrastructure.
That's, okay,
All elements of that.
okay, that's what I want to know, thank you.
And again, this is it's gonna be an involved process, and he advises it's gonna take 6 months to do that analysis.
And no obligation to then proceed and seek conformance. But it's a process to lead to it. So fully funded.
We have to see what the videotape says on it in terms of what things we might have to change in our land use.
And the cost of this could be anywhere, depending on the depth of it, $10,000 to $30,000, again, covered by us. And that's why we're passing this resolution. Further discussion? Roll call, roll, please, Nancy.
Councilwoman Murphy?
Yes.
Councilman Portello?
Aye.
Councilman Silva?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sueda? Aye. Council President Sweeney?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wytle? Aye.
Let's move on to the bills list. Does any member of the council have any item on the bills list that needs to be put into discussion?
I just had kind of a question about the complete sound system, for 1025, business information system.
That is,
What is that?
that is for this,
This-
and it covers the sound system that we have in the gym.
An upgrade or just maintenance?
No, this is just our yearly maintenance.
Okay.
In case anything goes wrong, they come in and do that.
That's our
So the
maintenance
contract, right?
Yeah, it's our maintenance contract.
Okay. I wasn't sure.
I did have a quick question. The Deer Park water, is that for the rental of the actual cooling system or just the water itself?
It's the water and the cooler.
Got it. Thank you.
Nancy, will you please read the total amount of bills to be paid?
$339,548.61.
May I have a motion and second to approve the resolution for payment of bills?
So moved.
Second.
Jamie Merritt, roll call vote, please.
Councilwoman Murphy?
Yes.
Councilman Portello?
Aye.
Councilman Silva?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sueda? Aye. Council President Sweeney?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wytle? Aye.
Okay. I have no mayor's executive summary this evening, at least not yet. Let's move on to public comments and agenda items only. All public comments issued should be limited to 3 minutes per person. No debating between residents. Please approach the microphone, name and address, please. You are addressing the mayor and council at the microphone, not the audience. And we'd ask that repetitive comments, if someone made a comment about a particular item, that not be repeated. It's been made already. So, first person to the microphone.
Sorry, Mary Lynn Chiavi, 106 Worley Road, Long Valley, New Jersey. I used to live across from the Peapack Pond. Here are my questions. What is the sense of urgency? Members of the community have offered to clean up the goose droppings. Why not give it a year to see if it's effective? How are you going to prevent a new flock of geese from coming to the pond? And could you answer this honestly? Does it have something to do with the fact that condos are going up across the street? You would have to lay pipe across Main Street. That's where the geese cross on a regular basis. And the only way you could proceed with your construction would be to condemn them and call them a public health threat. Confirm or deny?
That's a false.
I'm just
No,
saying,
no,
it's a theory.
It's
It's a
not-
theory.
It's an
it's not
inaccurate
even
theory.
theory.
It doesn't have anything to do with it. But I can address some of your.
Again, I'm asking you, please, is this really what you want to teach your children? At this juncture in history, shouldn't we be working with nature, protecting nature? Do you really want to do something so violent as to force these beautiful birds into a gas chamber? Is that what you want as your legacy? Think about it.
Man, did you want your questions answered?
Please.
So the urgency, I mean, I think the urgency is that this is something we've been dealing with for over 20 years. And with the new park renovations and attempts to keep the water clean, we built a well that comes from the aqueduct underneath so that all the water source, which we lost from the branch of the Peapack Brook, is coming from an aqueduct. And so that's our water source. And so the water is being contaminated by the excessive geese poop. In general, there's no defined number of geese that's appropriate for an acreage of water. That data isn't out there that I could find that was that was well referenced. But in general, the data I found was maybe about 4 to 6 geese per acre of water. And that pond is somewhere around an acre. So, if we had a 4 to 6 goose population, we would support having those geese there. But unfortunately, with the number of geese we have, their fecal matter is contaminating that water and causing all sorts of detriment to it, algae blooms, and so forth, and making it really challenging to keep that water clean, even though we've made several attempts. I mean, the goose droppings is one aspect of it, but it's not the only one. It's the water, it's the inability to keep any sort of
Destruction of the lawn.
It's destruction of the lawn and plantings and things of that nature. So it's not just goose poop. The deterrents, we would keep maintaining the deterrents after these geese are removed. So the deterrents would include spraying of the repellent agents. We have the flashing lights that go all day and night to help deter them. And then basically, if we would see new geese come into the park, we would do geese police and some other things to remove them before they become resident geese. And then
We also want to rebuild that berm around the pond.
Right, so once the geese go in this coming fall, when it's planting season, we'll try to create the best riparian buffer that we can in the space that we have. So if you look at the west side of the park, the far side, the train track side of the pond, those plants, the geese prefer the other side, so those plants are doing pretty well. We're gonna try to buffer a few spots that have holes in them so the geese can't get into the water, but basically try to mimic what's on the far side on the near side. And get as thick of and high of a riparian buffer as possible. So we're gonna do the planting in the fall for that. And then Mr. Sweetie addressed the condos. That has nothing to do with it, truly.
Yeah,
They already have water service over there.
To be clear, any association with any future approved development in this town, okay, most of which has been approved years ago, has absolutely nothing to do with this issue. That's a red herring on the part of objectors and consensus. Okay, anybody else wish to comment? Remain in person, microphone, please, gentlemen.
Hi, I'm Devin Sweeney from Farm Cottage Road. I know the park has been a poignant issue over the last few months, but I'd like to remind everyone the history of the park. It's called Liberty Park. It was donated to the town to remember the veterans of the Great War, and over the years we've added more and more stones to commemorate people from our town who have made a great sacrifice. Some have made the greatest of sacrifices. Those names on the stones are people who still live in town. Their parents, their grandparents who have since passed away. If you don't know any of them, perhaps you live on the streets that are named after them. Todd, Tiger, Apgar, those are all names on the stones. So as we talk about something like geese, remember what that park is there for. It's not a sanctuary for animals. It's there so that we, as a community, can remember. We had a ceremony on Memorial Day. I wish we had more people show up. The fire department did their best. Today's D-Day. and it's a memorial. That's all I have to say.
Kevin, thank you for your comments on that monitor.
Hi, good evening. Susan Henbright, 14 Ridge Road. I appreciate the comment about D-Day. I was going to make the same comment. I think it's 80 years, and my grandfather and my uncle both served in the respective wars, so I think it's appropriate, and I applaud what the gentleman said. Just a couple comments. I know being on a municipal governing body is a very difficult job. As a practicing attorney, I've represented municipal governing bodies, planning boards. I've sat on this planning board for a while. I've represented planning boards. I've represented applicants on the other side. And I know it's a difficult job. And it's especially difficult when you have felt that you've researched everything and that you obtain opposition from constituents who perhaps have not considered the extent to which you have reviewed things. And I do appreciate the fact that you've had, this is the third meeting, and that you have, in my opinion, it looks like you have tried to vet many of the concerns and the issues and the possible fixes for not having to exterminate the geese. And yet, it's still very heartbreaking. And you know, Councilwoman Murphy, you mentioned that it's not just an issue about the poop, the goose waste, but I did mention something at the last meeting that seems to work in Canada on the Canada geese, and in terms of trying to pick up the goose poop and do something with it, I guess. I know that farms have manure breaker-uppers that come around, so I would like, I was a little disappointed that nobody, you know, really paid much attention to that suggestion, but ultimately this is your decision, and again, it is heartbreaking, and I would, it brings back, unfortunately, the whole idea about what Christine Ohm did to her dog. And I maybe y'all don't know what she did to her dog, but she shot her dog dead because he was untrainable, and I use that in quotes. And so, but ultimately, this is your decision, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak and the opportunity that you've given the public to voice their concerns. And I would just ask that you choose wisely with whatever method that you're going to use to exterminate the geese. And again, and I actually applaud the lady who said, you know, what kind of examples are we really trying to set? And you know, perhaps the difficult decision that you all had to make is part of what you need to indicate. So thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Gentlemen, this gentleman's next.
Well, that's fine. Yes.
Hi, good evening, Mayor and Council. Paul Vagano, 132 Main Street, in town, Peapack. I had asked previous time I was here, where's the environmental study from a biologist to look at the impact of the geese, removing the geese? Does anybody have the results of that study? I requested that as a citizen. Do you have an environmental impact study?
They're an invasive species.
Okay.
They have no predators. What would be the impact?
It's not an answer.
That is not an answer. What is the environmental impact of these animals, whether you remove them? Are they going to be replaced by another flock?
We did not do an environmental impact.
Why not?
Nor are we required to.
I asked you to.
Nor are we required to.
I asked you to.
You may have asked us to, but it wasn't considered as a viable option.
Okay, just because you have an inconvenience doesn't mean you take a life. So you know what? I'm going to support each and every one of you in this decision, all of you. So I got a hold of the individuals that run the agriculture program at Gill, which is wonderful. Animals, plants, and this and that, and they groom these students in a beautiful way to get involved with the agriculture program at Rutgers, which I was deeply involved with the Equine program. So what I had offered, and when it comes time to culling these geese, We're gonna get the 4-year-olds, the 5-year-olds, the 6, the 7, 8, and 10-year-olds, and all of you are going to show them the responsibility when adults do when they're an inconvenience, and you're gonna show those little kids to press this button. Are you all willing to do that? Or are you gonna find another viable mitigation process? I'm asking each and every one of you. I require an answer from every one of you. I'm organizing this. This is a field trip.
The council has no comment to that.
Well, of course they don't, because you don't have a viable answer, like you did last time.
Sir, this is a public comment portion.
I understand.
You're making your points, and it's to be done in a civil fashion.
Of course it's civil.
It's not an interrogation.
I'm not interrogating. I asked for answers last time, and they were not required.
Sir, I'm not done.
Neither am I.
I understand that, but we gave you respect. Stop the time, please.
What's up?
This governing body has given you respect over the course of several meetings and will continue to do so. You're not making comment, you're making an interrogation, and you're bordering on harassing people who are practically volunteering their time and services.
And
It's inappropriate, sir, what you're doing and the way you're doing it
pointing at me?
in a public.
You're pointing at me with a nail in your finger?
No, I'm holding on to the
No, you
desk
can't.
right here.
And that's aggravating.
You're trying to entice people and trying to get people to do things and say things.
No,
This
it's
is a
not.
public comment in a governing body meeting. Finish your comment, but do not challenge people, do not interrogate people, do not make demands of people, and do not demand by the answers from people. No one's demanding anything from you other than giving you the opportunity in a civil and productive and constructive way to make comment. And your time, no doubt, is going to continue. And please use it wisely in making comment in a constructive fashion to this governing body that has a lot of services that they provide to the entire municipality day and night throughout the year.
Are you not demanding support of everybody in this room?
Sir, please finish your points.
Okay, I am organizing a field trip with the Gill School, and they will come, and I want each and every one of you, if you have the guts to do it, to press that button. There are other options for these animals that has not been investigated, and I know that. That has not been investigated. Don't mess with nature. It will come back to you. It will come back to you. You're rude, and you know that.
You just pointed at me, sir. You just pointed at me.
I needed you. Let me say something. Don't do it again. You were here because we voted you in place, and we had dependence upon all of you, and you were disappointing everybody in this town. This is an easy fix. You have the kids who have some sort of contraption to pick up the poop. If that's the issue, if you have not identified the insults, none of you. You are an embarrassment, each and every one. I'll be back. Particularly for you.
One is ready, that's a threat.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, right, it is.
In front of law enforcement, sir, that's more than not appropriate.
That's your problem, not mine.
Shame.
No, it's not shame.
It is.
You're an embarrassment. You are an embarrassment.
Sir, I'm gonna ask you to stop right now before I take action. Please.
Take action.
Please. You're done.
It's, you people are idiots. You're harming.
Shame on you, sir.
I got it.
Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, officer. Okay, go ahead.
Jacqueline on 63 Main Street in Peapack, and I would like to thank this gentleman for bringing up about what the park stands for. For 20 years, I volunteered at the Lions VA Hospital, and what did I do there was the pet therapy program. I would bring animals to visit veterans who had no visitors, nothing in their lives. I would bring dogs and cats there for 20 years. I wouldn't have thought about this unless this gentleman brought it up. The bond between animals and humans. I don't understand why some of you cannot understand how cruel this gassing is. I called the USDA last week and I spoke to Adam. He said, Mayor, you have the right to cancel this contract. Why can you not give us another year to work together to figure this out instead of being known for a town Thank you.
I believe the lady in the far right there, you were next.
Sorry, this is hard for me.
That's okay, take your time.
Take a deep breath.
I'm not as articulate as all of you, and hopefully you won't throw me out. I'm from Bergen County. What's your name?
Name and address, please.
Barry Feinstein. And I'm from Fairlawn, New Jersey, Bergen County. I know we only have 3 minutes. Doing better now? Oh, thanks. Of course, the TV has to be here. Great. I'm an out-of-towner, great. So.
Would you like a bottle of water?
Oh, I need something more than that. Yeah. Okay. I just want to bring the room back, and let's try and talk about this together, please, because the yelling doesn't work. 20 years ago, I spoke at the hearings when they first started talking about the culling. So I've been very involved in this, and I'm very passionate about it. And I want you to understand, again, I just want to go back to that 3 minutes. I thought I had 15, and let me explain why. I wanted to set a timer, and I wanted us to be silent for 15 minutes, because that's how long it will take for each goose and gosling to die in up to 45 minutes. I want you to understand it's carbon dioxide. And just like you have your research, okay, and I know you do, and I know that you have a biologist on staff, I get it. I can give you 20 years worth of data that is out there that will prove this is animal cruelty to the highest degree. I know I'm not supposed to mention somebody else said about Governor Nome, but it's true. There's so much out there about animal cruelty right now. And the fact that there's going to be a culling approved by officials, that is so disheartening. And this is what we're teaching our children. We should be teaching children in school how to respect wildlife and respect one another. And instead, we're teaching our children the way to coexist with wildlife is to kill them. So I want to make sure you understand, and I know we all have to respect your decision, right? But this is the highest form of animal cruelty. And I spend hours every day. I'm not with a rescue group, so let me just tell you, I am not part of any animal welfare organization. I am boots on the ground, taking care of wildlife when they get fishing line on them, and I get it off, and I do all that. I spend hours with geese.
10 seconds.
They mate for life. If they get aggressive, it's because they're defending themselves. I'm not going to go on the whole tangent of how much I love them. I just want to focus on the animal cruelty aspect, and I'm telling you, it's the highest. Thank you, and sorry I came from out of town.
We appreciate very much for coming down from Bergen to talk to us. Those in the middle here, okay, Karen, is it?
Hi, Karen Rogers from 7 West Avenue, Gladstone. I'm sorry I'm late. I had to take my mother home, and I wanted to get here earlier. So I may have missed something that I'm going to comment about, and if I'm repeating something that was covered, just let me know. I thought about, okay, there's a place in the Barnyard Sanctuary that you all know that will take them. That's 170 acres with 2 ponds. And they have a horse trailer, but they just don't have a permit.
That was discussed before.
Okay, so there's a permit, you can get a permit for transporting them if you download it from the Fish and Wildlife. If we could get somebody with a permit, we have the horse trailer, we have the place, that's one possibility.
Earlier tonight, but you might have missed it, we can fill you in afterwards if you wish. We discussed the reasons why after extensive examination, Barnyard Sanctuary, while a very worthwhile organization, is not a feasible option for relocating these.
Oh, okay, I had no idea. Okay, so that was my other thought, was if they're gonna round them up and gas them, they could just round them up and put them in the thing and drive them there. I mean, if the person was rounding them up and getting them in a trailer, they could just take them somewhere, and then somebody else mentioned the Great Swamp. So, that's not viable?
Unfortunately, collecting them and dropping them somewhere is not an option.
And why is the Barnard Sanctuaries not?
Because they'll end up coming right back to our pond.
Oh, really? You know that for a fact?
Yes, advised by a biologist.
Well, could you give it a chance, and then if they come back, gas them later? I mean, it's worth a try.
An example, Eric, will you repeat the example you said earlier?
There was a town in New York that actually relocated their geese to South Carolina. By the time the truck had come back that transported them, the geese were already back. Like the geese.
But if you kill this group, another group will come in.
We'll continue the deterrents that we have in place to prevent that or bringing the geese to these or other methods that Jamie mentioned in addition to the current deterrents that we have. But the relocation, as you know.
Well, maybe you could try it, and if it doesn't work, I mean, why does it have to be done this month? Can't you give it another year? I mean, what is the rush? If they've been here 25 years, I've been here 25 years, I don't.
There is no rush, except the issue with the geese in our park is becoming huge. That's 55 to 60 geese living on our park, and the conditions that are created there are not safe. Okay?
Well, why are they not safe?
I'm not going to get into it now, this has been discussed.
All right,
But thank you.
thank you.
Hi, I'm Lynn, Lynn, Perry, Jason Peter, ERRY. I live at 59 Main Street here in Peapack. I do appreciate that you all are here this evening, in the past several meetings, listening to our concerns. Honestly, I don't feel like your minds were made up, however, I do appreciate that you've been open to at least listening to us and hearing some other options. As I stated previously, as a person of faith, this is very upsetting to me because I feel, as a person of faith, that we should care for all of God's creatures. One of the other things that upsets me about this is that they are resident geese, and that we're holding human residents in higher regard than animal residents. Let me say I am a cat lover, so I definitely appreciate the TNR program that is happening right now to keep the cat population down without having to kill any cats. I know there's not something like that we can do for geese, but as stated before, I feel like we could give it one more year. We've brought more things to the table than we knew about before, and there's got to be something that we can do that doesn't involve killing innocent animals. Yeah, I understand the problem with the pond. I get it. You know, it's nice to see fish there and everything. However, to think that the geese aren't going to come back because we built a nicer park is kind of unreasonable. That's what animals do. Animals poop, animals come back, animals come where they're happy. And the fact that the geese are happy to be here, I think, speaks louder than any poops. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Perry. Just one response. You are correct in one thing, at least one thing you said, and that is we do hold human beings in higher regard than animals. Human beings are our primary concern here, and their health and well-being is our responsibility in many respects. Who else would like to speak? Lady in
Doreen Fraga, Southwark, New Jersey, Animal Protection League of New Jersey. So we are submitting our formal request. We are offering to pay for Nancy Minich to develop her habitat modification proposal, to work with her, to implement it. And we also are offering to pay for block 3, the commercial grade, with the Invisadigm, not the one that might not be working here for the borough, because there are 2 different types of block 3. So we want to work with the manufacturer's block 3, which has the Invisadigm. And we are offering to pay for Nancy Minich to come in and do the riparian buffer. Now, Nancy had suggested a couple of things. I'll submit our formal
offer.
Give that to the Sharon property owner.
So Nancy had said that the geese have a clear line of sight with the water. And so the riparian buffer that's here right now is not breaking up that clear line of sight. There's also a food source, which is also a clear line of sight for the geese. And there's also an island here where the geese can nest, which is also another thing that is not breaking up the biological imperative of the geese, which is to break up their safety nest, break up their food source, and break up a safe place to nest. So Nancy can fix all of that with her riparian buffer. We are asking that you give her a chance to delay the contract, to cancel the contract, and let her be able to come in and work with you guys. We have volunteers to help. We have people that will help. We can fix this for you. We can make this right so that it will deter the geese from the area. This is the solution. Flock free is used in the meantime until this is implemented. And I just don't understand why you won't give us that chance. We're offering to pay for it.
Just to be clear, Doreen, you're offering to pay for the architect and the plantings to go around the pond? What are you offering to pay for?
We are going to do a fundraiser to pay for the plantings. If you cancel the USDA contract, that money can be used to implement the plantings. Because the money that
we paid for the contract already, we're not gonna.
But no, you can get your money back.
Yeah, we can't get the money back.
Yes, you can.
So, we can, I know, we can. When we spoke to Nancy, when we all met at the park, she said there's that constant food source of the grass. And she did not give a viable option because she mentioned that there really isn't a grass we can plant, except for there was one that she had to keep 9 inches tall with barbs on the top. And she said you'd have to do all the surrounding homes and businesses. So, all due respect, like it's just not an option. This is it's a little suburban park, right? That people want to have picnics and we have little community events. We can't have 9-inch grass, and we can't expect neighbors all around the grass, the pond to make all these changes. And truly, we are taking all that information that you gave us at the meeting we had at the park to heart. And we are replanting the riparian buffer. We want to create a good riparian buffer to deter future geese. That is absolutely our plan. That was our plan when we redid the park 2 years ago. And unfortunately, even though we kept it fenced in, unfortunately geese ate it. And then we replanted 2 more times, and we couldn't get the geese not to eat it. So truly, we have tried with that riparian buffer, and that is the plan once these geese are gone, to get that opportunity to plant a good riparian buffer to have a natural way to deter these geese.
But unfortunately, Nancy.
Time is up.
Can I just say one thing? Nancy has found out that the architect that you had hired to do the riparian buffer is not the correct one who knows any kind of information about deterring geese, and the incorrect plants were used. There were plants that geese like, not invasive plants that the geese do not like. So she has done some research.
We didn't want to use invasive plants in the design. I mean,
but then the geese will come back because they
want
want
to understand. So it's kind of, it's hard, right? When you do an agricultural project, you want it to use non-invasive plants. That was one of the goals of the project. So it was a balance. And we have your packet from last time. We have this. We will absolutely take Nancy's advice on some of the plants.
A lot of good things.
I'm sorry, we're way past.
I'm sorry, but her proposal would work and it would fix the problem here. You should really give it a chance. You really should.
I just wanted to state that as you said, you tried this before. You're doing it on your own, but you don't have to. The animal protection leagues are very experienced. I don't know if you've heard about the town of Edgewater. They had 6 times more geese than you did, and the animal protection league was able to get it so those geese left. So they have a proven track record of how it works. So I don't really understand, and maybe you can make me understand, like why you're gonna put in the deterrents after you kill the geese. Like why don't you do it first, and then make sure you can get rid of them before you do that. I don't understand why you can't cancel it, and because you're only supposed to get the permit if you've exhausted all non-lethal measures, and clearly you haven't. So I don't even know why you have a permit. Any questions before my time's up?
Thank you for your comment. There was somebody in the rear who was, oh, I'm sorry, you were next, right? I'd like to say
So I have some presentations.
So your name?
Name and address.
Sorry. Jennifer Douglas, 200 Old Army Road, Burnsville. Can I give them to you, or can I hand them out?
You can have them.
Mr. Mayor. I got a little cough there. Thank you. Thank you so much. I've given out a QR code to everyone in the audience that I can reach, so they all have a copy of the presentation. Basically, what I have done is compile a comprehensive assessment of best practices on an integrated geese management program. We heard from Doreen. The fact is that if when she came here and spoke to you, if you had implemented the actual things that she had recommended, the geese would be gone. They'd be gone now. I have, in the back of that packet, I have a list of 200 communities who have implemented successful geese deterrent programs. These are communities that had resident geese. They had them existing there. It was not preventative measures, and they got their geese to leave. There are thousands more case studies out there of communities that have successfully done this. I spoke today with Priscilla Comfrey, the founder of Women for Trump, New Jersey. She is 100% behind us. We have support from all sides of the political spectrum. Our call to action video has been reposted on every continent in the world. The world is watching you. Our community and beyond is watching you. Our children are watching you, and they're speaking to you. We have 5,500 community members that have signed, please, asking you to just work with us. Thank you. And I want to close with this. We will not let this go. This issue will not go away until you cancel the contract. I promise you that.
There was a lady in the rear. Do you want to speak? Oh, right there. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
My name is Wendy Rostelli. I lived in Peapack, Gladstone many years ago. And there's always been geese there.
Current address in town, please.
I live currently in Basking Ridge, Society Hill, and I live in the middle of 3 retention ponds. And up until a couple of years ago, we had nothing compared to what you have nothing compared to what we had. We probably had 1,000 geese. And what they did was I had talked to them about having the geese police. And we now have the geese police come in. I believe they come like once a week or once every other week. And we have no geese. Maybe a handful, if that. All right. I also spoke to the director of Rapture Trust, and he said that by what you're doing isn't going to change, isn't going to eliminate the problem. As soon as they get killed, you're going to have more come in. Unless you have this, you have to make the environment that they live in hostile to their living conditions. We have a pond. I rent a barn down in Bedminster, and there's a pond next door. We had tons of geese. I have a border collie, and she has the best time in her life chasing the geese. And right now, we have no geese. Well, they come back a little bit, but they're gone very quickly because she annoys them. Do not have an environment that is friendly to them. And Janie Murphy, as a veterinarian, I would think that.
Excuse me, let me stop you right now. You're going to insult one of my councilmen. Really? Your time at the microphone's over.
I just was asking that she should know that.
Please, please don't.
I'm sorry, what should I know about the dog?
No, about the fact that by eliminating these geese, you're just gonna have more geese coming.
Excuse me, ma'am, we went through the whole problem before, and I guess you weren't paying attention. Right now, we're using the flashing lights, we're using the flock free. We have every intention of having the riparian buffer rebuilt after the geese are gone, and we're gonna continue to deter it.
And I have a question. How come this became such a problem all of a sudden? Like I said, I lived here years ago, and we had geese. There was no problem. Yeah, there's geese poop, but there's fox poop. There's all sorts of things. You can't, if that's going to be a problem, then maybe people should move back to the city.
Yeah, seriously.
They made a mess of things because I forgot to shut the door. That was my fault. I'm not going to kill them. I mean, I just had to put a couple of animals to sleep because of their quality of life was no longer good.
10 seconds.
But their quality of life is not the problem. You people are the problem.
Anyone who wishes to speak next.
Hi, Andrea Chronic, Holland Ave, Peapack. I live here. I've lived here for 30 years, and this has been a problem for 30 years. I can remember Mayor Hamilton running across the street trying to deal with the problem herself. I want to thank you for using trusted, fact-based resources to make this tough decision. I want to thank you for recognizing that this is an invasive species that is destroying the environment, the healthy environment that I know you guys worked so long to get back to. And I want to thank you for your measured and professional response this evening with all the other meetings. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Toby Duff. I live on Upper Avenue in Gladstone, and I will echo what this lady just said. I want to thank you all. I think you've been extremely gracious in listening to all sides of the argument and hearing all sides of everybody's opinions. And I know this is very emotional. I know that this is ultimately not what you want to do. You tried your best, and I do appreciate it. I walk through that park every day, multiple times during the day sometimes. But it's gotten to the point where I can't go there with my dog because there are tons of geese and there's goose poop everywhere. And it's not just to the park, it's up here in the municipal fields, on the golf course, to the point where I hear from my son that he doesn't even want to come down here to play basketball because there's so much goose poop all over. So I appreciate it. You've all been very, very open to listening to everyone. I know you've taken a lot of heat and some disrespectful comments, which is very disheartening because that's not what Peapack Gladstone is about. And I just want to say thank you to you all.
Anyone else wish to address the council?
Good evening, Camille DiCarlo, Chester, New Jersey, 253 North Road. As I reflected on our past meetings up here, I was confident that the council and the campaign committees wanted the same thing. We had spoken with Senator Cory Booker. He has the facts of what we've been discussing over the past 2 meetings and supporting documentation. Specifically, the fact that back in April, you were offered a proposal, monetary proposal, expert proposal on medium, and you refused it. You did not even acknowledge it. If that happened back in April, you would have no geese now, because it was the correct method that was needed to keep the geese away. That was back in April. Sadly to say, and honestly, we had nobody was given a reason why that proposal was ignored. I have no clue till this day, unfortunately, and now we're faced with something you don't want to do, and we don't want to see you do. The fact that Senator Cory Booker will be looking at the timeline of the Pfizer Master Development Plan, the Liberty Park Pond and the geese are part of this master plan. He knows that the paperwork for that Pfizer development was signed on February 22nd, and the kill order to gas the geese was signed right after that on February 23rd. I just don't understand why you were offered a solution back in April and you did not take it. And now we're here today. And it saddens me. This was a waste of everybody's time, emotion, everything. And we didn't need to do this. Tomorrow, they asked me to speak to them and kind of go over what we discussed here tonight. And do I need to tell him then that all the information he has, and he knows that you ignored back in April the proposal to help you with proven methods, non-lethal, yes, non-lethal, it's on record, monetary experts on avian, and the fact that that pond you did for what was it, about 1.5 million 2 years ago, every single thing that was implemented in that pond was to actually attract geese. You left them a clear sight line. You put in the grass they loved, you didn't do the proper plantings, and you have a mess now on your hands. You spent a lot of the taxpayers' money, and it's sad, and it's evident. We had experts come to that pond, and you know that because you did a walkthrough with Julian. You know that. So I don't understand. If you could tell us, tell the press, tell the news, tell Senator Cory Booker why you didn't accept that in April, I really would like an answer, and so would the public, and so would the Senate. Thank you.
Anyone else who wish to address the council? Seeing none, I'll close the public comment portion of the meeting. Council members, do you have anything else for further business?
Definitely.
Okay, our next meeting of the Mayor and Council is on the third Tuesday, June 18th at 7 o'clock p.m. in this room.